Why does my sweat smell like vinegar? Hey there, and welcome back to Body Talk, the show where we dive into the weird, wonderful, and sometimes kind of gross things our bodies do and what they're trying to tell us. I'm your host, Ken, and today we're talking about sweat. Yep, sweat. But not just any sweat. We're zeroing in on why your sweat might smell like vinegar. And listen, if you're cringing right now thinking, that's me, don't sweat it. You're not alone. And the good news is, it's usually manageable and sometimes even fixable. So, grab a drink, get comfy, and let's figure out what's going on. What's up with vinegar sweat? All right, let's start with the basics. Sweating is totally normal. It's how our bodies cool off. But sometimes, that sweat can come with a, shall we say, unexpected scent. A lot of people describe it as sour, tangy, or even like vinegar. And here's the thing, sweat itself doesn't actually smell. It's mostly just water, salt, and a few other things like urea and ammonia. So why does it stink sometimes? Well, that funky smell comes from bacteria on your skin breaking down the sweating depending on a bunch of factors like what you ate, your stress levels, or even underlying health stuff that breakdown can smell a little off. Let's break down 7 common causes. So now that we know what's happening, let's talk about why it might be happening. Here are 7 super common reasons your sweat might smell like vinegar. 1. Your diet. Yup, you are what you eat. Garlic, onions, broccoli, red meat, and even dairy can change the way your sweat smells. These foods contain sulfur compounds that can leave your skin a bit more fragrant than you'd like. 2. Stress. Ever had a nerve-wracking day and noticed your body odor was stronger than usual? That's stress sweat. It comes from your apocrine glands and tends to be more pungent. In fact, a study once described stress sweat as smelling like stir-fried leeks. Yikes. 3. Hormones. Hormonal changes from puberty, periods, pregnancy, or menopause can all mess with your sweat chemistry. So if your body's going through a phase, your sweat might too. 4. Hyperhidrosis. This is a condition where you sweat more than usual even when you're not hot or working out. All that extra sweat gives bacteria more to work with, and that can amp up the vinegar smell. 5. Diabetes. When blood sugar isn't managed properly, the body starts breaking down fat for energy instead of glucose. That produces ketoacidosis, of which is acetone, the same stuff in nail polish remover. It can make your sweat and even your breath smell sour or fruity. 6. Kidney issues. If your kidneys aren't filtering waste properly, things like urea can build up in your system and come out through your sweat. That can create a strong, sometimes sour, odor. 7. Acidosis. This one's less common, but if your body becomes too acidic from diet, exercise, or an underlying condition, it can literally come through your skin, and that smells like vinegar too. What can you do about it? Okay, so what now? The good news is, there's a lot you can do, both at home and with help from a doctor. Let's start simple. Shower daily with antibacterial soap to cut down on the bacteria causing the odor. Wear breathable clothes, think cotton or moisture-wicking fabrics. Change your diet if you notice certain foods seem to trigger the smell. Stay hydrated. More water equals more diluted sweat. And yeah, relax. Stress management really does make a difference. Yoga, deep breathing, whatever works for you. If none of that helps, talk to your doctor. You might benefit from prescription antiperspirants, Botox injections, yes, for sweat, or in more extreme cases, a treatment called microwave thermolysis that actually zaps sweat glands in your armpits. And of course, if the vinegar smell is strong and persistent, especially if you notice changes in your urine, weird skin issues, or sudden weight changes, please get checked out. It could be a sign of something more serious like diabetes or kidney trouble. Final thoughts. Here's the big takeaway. Your body is smart. If your sweat suddenly smells like vinegar, it might be whispering, "Hey, something's up." Don't ignore it, but don't panic either. Most of the time, the fix is easier than you think. That's it for today's episode of Body Talk. If you learned something new or just feel a little better about your own body quirks, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and maybe share this episode with a friend who's always worried about BO. Until next time, stay curious, stay fresh, and remember your body's trying to help you out. You just have to listen. I'm Ken, and I'll catch you in the next episode.